The grand chamber was silent. Hyunwoo stood in the center, his hands bound behind his back. Around him, hundreds of alien creatures watched from their seats. Some had scales, some had wings, and some looked like walking crystals. They were all part of the Galactic Council, the group that ruled over 847 different alien worlds. Hyunwoo was Earth's ambassador. He had come to this place to speak for humanity, to protect human colonies and to make peace. But the Council did not want peace. They wanted control. And humans refused to be controlled. High Arbiter Krell stepped forward. He was tall, covered in black scales, and his eyes were cold like ice. He belonged to a race called the Vreth. They were reptiles who had ruled the Council for thousands of years. Krell looked down at Hyunwoo and smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Ambassador Hyunwoo of Earth," Krell said in a deep voice, "you are accused of crimes against galactic peace. You defended illegal human colonies. You refused Council authority. You encouraged rebellion. How do you answer?" Hyunwoo lifted his head. "I defended freedom. Human colonies on New Terra were legal. We followed every rule. You tried to take our land because you wanted it. I said no. That is not a crime." The council chamber erupted in angry voices. The alien creatures did not like his answer. They did not like humans who talked back. They did not like being told they were wrong. Krell raised his hand. The noise stopped. "The council has decided. You are guilty. The punishment is death. The execution will be public. All 847 worlds will watch. Let this be a lesson to humanity. Learn your place." Far away on Earth, President Jae-hee watched the trial on a screen. She sat in a dark room with her advisors. Next to her was Admiral Tae-yang, the commander of Earth's space fleet. He was an old soldier with gray hair and hard eyes. On her other side sat General Minho, who led the Marines. In the corner, Intelligence Director Subin quietly took notes. "This is wrong," Minho said, his voice shaking with anger. "They are going to kill him for doing his job. We have to do something." President Jae-hee pressed a button. A communication channel opened to the council. Her face appeared on screens across the alien chamber. "This is President Jae-hee of Earth. Release Ambassador Hyunwoo immediately. He has committed no crime. If you kill him, there will be consequences." Krell looked at the screen and laughed. "Consequences? From humans? You are one species. We are 847. You have a few hundred ships. We have millions. You will do nothing. You can do nothing." He turned off the communication. President Jae-hee's screen went black. She sat back in her chair. Her face showed no emotion, but her hands were shaking. Admiral Tae-yang put his hand on her shoulder. "We can launch a rescue mission," he said quietly. "I can have ships there in 3 hours." Subin shook her head. "Too late. The execution is in 1 hour. By the time our ships arrive, he will be dead, and we would lose those ships for nothing." Jae-hee closed her eyes. "Then we watch. We remember, and then we act." On the council world of Vortan Prime, billions of aliens gathered to watch. They filled streets and public squares. Screens showed the execution platform in the center of the council chamber. Guards brought Hyunwoo forward. They forced him to his knees. A Kelnar priest stepped forward. The Kelnar were made of living crystal. When they spoke, their voices sounded like wind chimes. "Do you have last words?" the priest asked. Hyunwoo looked up. His face was calm. He was not afraid. "I die a proud human," he said. His voice was strong and clear. "I die free, and I die knowing that my people will never bow to tyrants. You think you are teaching humanity a lesson? But you are wrong. You are teaching yourself one. You will learn what happens when you kill one of us. You will learn that humans do not forget, and we do not forgive." Krell nodded to the executioner. A Thrax warrior raised a weapon. The Thrax were insect creatures with hard shells and many arms. The weapon hummed with energy. It pointed at Hyunwoo's chest. On Earth, every human watched. In homes and offices, in schools and hospitals, on ships in space, and in colonies on distant planets. Everyone stopped what they were doing. They all watched the same screen. The weapon fired. A bright beam of light struck Hyunwoo. He did not scream. He did not cry out. He simply closed his eyes, and then he was gone. Turned to dust. Erased from existence, the council chamber erupted in cheers. The aliens celebrated. They believed they had won. They believed humans would be scared now. They believed Earth would obey. They were wrong. On Earth, the screens went dark. No one spoke. No one moved. The silence lasted for exactly 1 minute. Then President Jae-hee stood up. Her eyes were red, but no tears fell. "Activate Protocol Omega," she said. Her voice was quiet, but everyone heard it. "Call back every ship. Recall every soldier. Close every embassy. We are withdrawing from the Council." Admiral Tae Yang stood up. "And then?" Jae-hee looked at him. Her face was hard as stone. "And then we go to war. Totalva. They wanted to teach us a lesson. Now we will teach them one. They will learn what it means to kill a human. They will learn that we do not fight for territory or resources. We fight for each other. They killed one of us, so we go to war with all of them." Minho smiled. It was not a happy smile. "All 847 species?" "All of them," Jae-hee confirmed. Subin opened her computer. "I will start preparing target lists. Ships, bases, supply lines, everything." Tae-young walked to the window. Outside he could see Earth's moon. Beyond that, the stars. Somewhere out there was the Council. They were celebrating. They thought they had won. "They have no idea what is coming," he said softly. Jae-hee joined him at the window. "No. They think humans are weak because we value life. They think we are scared because we avoid war. They do not understand that we avoid war because we know how good we are at it. They do not understand that when humans finally fight, we do not stop until we win." She turned away from the window. "Send a message to every human colony. Tell them what happened. Tell them we are going to war. Ask them if they will fight." The message went out. It reached 200 human colonies across space. On every world, humans stopped and listened. They heard about Hyunwoo. They heard about the execution. They heard about the war. And on every world, the answer was the same: yes, we will fight. For Hyunwoo. For Earth, for freedom. In space, human ships began to move. Military vessels left their patrols. Cargo ships changed course. Even civilian ships with families aboard headed toward Earth. Everyone was coming home. Everyone was getting ready. The Council did not notice. They were too busy celebrating. They had killed one human and thought that was the end. They did not understand that it was only the beginning. Humanity was about to teach the galaxy a lesson. A lesson about what happens when you murder someone's brother. A lesson about what happens when you think violence will make people obey. A lesson about humans. The Council had ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years. They thought they would rule for 50,000 more. They were wrong. Their time was ending. The age of human resistance was beginning, and nothing would ever be the same again. 12 hours had passed since the execution. Earth's government building was filled with people. Soldiers, scientists, politicians, and citizens all gathered. They came to hear what President Jae-hee would say. They came to learn what humanity would do next. Outside, the streets were silent. No cars moved. No one went to work. Every human on Earth watched their screens. In the colonies from Mars to the distant stars, humans stopped everything. They waited. President Jae-hee walked to the podium. She wore black. Her face was tired, but her eyes were strong. Behind her stood Admiral Tae Yang in his uniform and General Minho with his medals. Intelligence Director Subin stood in the shadows watching everything. Jae-hee looked at the camera. She knew billions of humans were watching. She also knew the Council was watching. Good, she wanted them to hear this. "My fellow humans," she began. Her voice was calm, but everyone could hear the anger underneath. Yesterday, the Galactic Council murdered Ambassador Hyunwoo. They killed him in public. They broadcast it to the galaxy. They did this to scare us. They did this to make us obey. They did this to show us our place. She paused. They failed. Humans do not have a place. We make our own place. We do not obey tyrants. We resist them. We do not scare easily. We fight back. Around the world, people listened. Some cried. Some were angry. All of them waited to hear what came next. The Council thinks they can kill us and we will do nothing. Jae-hee continued. They think we are weak because we value peace. They think we are scared because we avoid war. They are wrong. We value peace because we understand the cost of war. We avoid war because we know how terrible we are at making it. She leaned forward. But now they have forced our hand. They have shown us that peace is not possible with them. They have declared that human lives do not matter. So we will show them that they do. We will show them what happens when you kill one of us. The room was completely silent. Every person held their breath. As of this moment, humanity withdraws from the Galactic Council. We will no longer follow their laws. We will no longer accept their authority. We will no longer pretend they have the right to rule us. Her voice grew stronger. And as of this moment, we are at war. Not with one species, Not with a few planets. With all of them. With the entire council. With every species that supported the execution. With every government that allowed it to happen. People gasped. War with the entire council? It was impossible. It was suicide. The council had 847 species. They had billions of soldiers. They had weapons that could destroy planets. But Jahi was not finished. They think they are strong because they are many. We will show them that strength comes from determination. They think they will win because they have more ships. We will show them that battles are won by better tactics. They think humans will surrender because the odds are against us. We will show them that humans never surrender when fighting for what is right. She looked directly into the camera. This message goes to every human in the galaxy. Come home if you can. Prepare to fight if you cannot. We need every ship, every soldier, every mind. This will be hard. Many of us will die. But we fight for Hyunwoo. We fight for each other. We fight for freedom. And we will not stop until the council is destroyed and a new fair government takes its place. The broadcast ended. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the messages started coming in. From Mars, from the asteroid colonies, from the farming worlds and the mining stations, from ships in deep space and bases on distant moons. The message was always the same. We are ready. We will fight. Admiral Tae-yang immediately activated Protocol Omega. This was the secret war plan Earth had created years ago, back when they first joined the Council and realized how arrogant the aliens were, back when they understood that war might someday be necessary. All across human space, ships began to move. Military dreadnoughts powered up their weapons. Carriers launched their fighters. Destroyers and cruisers formed battle groups. Even civilian ships were converted. Cargo freighters became supply vessels. Passenger ships became troop transports. Mining ships became mobile bases. In shipyards around Earth and Mars, workers started building new vessels. Engineers brought out secret designs, weapons the Council had forbidden. Humanity had been preparing for this day, hoping it would never come but ready when it did. Fleet Commander Hyun Suk took charge of the first strike fleet. She was young for a commander, only 40 years old, but she was brilliant. She had studied every war in human history. She understood tactics and strategy better than anyone else. Her fleet had 500 ships, all equipped with new weapons that the Council had never seen. Captain Boram commanded the stealth division. His 200 ships were special. They could hide from Council sensors. They could appear out of nowhere, attack, and vanish again. The Council did not believe stealth technology was possible. Boram was going to prove them wrong. In a secret facility on the dark side of the moon, Engineer Jiwoo worked on something terrible, a weapon the Council had banned thousands of years ago. A device that could destroy entire planets. The Council thought such weapons were too dangerous, but they had just killed a peaceful ambassador. If they wanted to play with dangerous things, Jiwoo would give them dangerous. On Vortan Prime, High Arbiter Krell watched the human broadcast. He was not worried. Let the humans declare war. Let them make threats. They were one species against 847. They had a few hundred ships against millions. They would lose, and then they would obey. He called a council meeting. Representatives from dozens of species gathered. Some looked concerned, but most were confident. The Thrax warrior Zek laughed at the idea of human resistance. The Kelnar diplomat Rin said humans were too emotional to fight a real war. The Vreth General Vorn promised to crush Earth within a month. Only one voice spoke differently. Elder Hana of the Luminary stood up. The Luminary were beings made of pure energy. They were old, wise, and peaceful. Hana had voted against the execution. She had warned that killing Hyunwoo was a mistake. You underestimate humans, Hana said quietly. I have studied their history. They are not like us. When we fight for territory or resources. When humans fight, they fight for ideas, for honor, for each other. You cannot defeat people who fight for such things with simple force. Krell dismissed her concerns. They are primitives who discovered space travel only 200 years ago. We have ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years. Numbers matter. Power matters. They have neither. Hana said nothing more, but that night she sent a secret message to Earth. She could not help humanity openly. The Luminari were pacifists. They would not fight. But she could give them information. Council ship movements, defense plans, weak points in their formations. She sent it all to Subin on Earth. Subin received the message. She smiled. The Council thought they were united, but there were cracks. Species who disagreed with the execution. Species who were tired of Council tyranny. Species who wanted change but were too afraid to fight for it. Humanity would give them hope. Humanity would show them that the Council could be resisted. In his office, Admiral Tae-yang looked at a star map. Red dots showed Council military bases. Blue dots showed human colonies. The Council had more dots, many more. But Tae-yang had been a soldier for 50 years. He knew that wars were not won by having more dots on a map. Wars were won by determination, by strategy, by hitting the enemy where they were weak, not where they were strong, by making them afraid, by showing them that every victory would cost them dearly, by making them question whether the war was worth fighting. The Council thought this would be easy. They thought humans would surrender after the first defeat. They thought wrong. Humans had spent thousands of years fighting each other. They knew every trick, every tactic, every way to win when you were outnumbered. Tae-yang selected the first target, Thrax Prime, the homeworld of the insect creatures who had demanded Hyunwoo's execution. They would learn first. They would learn what it meant to kill a human. He sent orders to Fleet Commander Hyun-suk. Attack Thrax Prime. Show no mercy. Make it hurt. Let the galaxy see what happens when you murder one of us. Hyun-suk received the orders. She gathered her commanders. They planned the attack. They prepared their weapons. They said goodbye to their families, knowing some of them would not return. Then they left. 500 human ships heading toward enemy territory, heading toward a world defended by thousands of Council vessels, heading toward what everyone said was certain death. But they were human, and humans had a saying, one that the Council was about to learn, one that would echo across the galaxy for generations, one that would change everything. When you kill one of us, you go to war with all of us, and when humans go to war, we do not stop until we win, no matter the cost, no matter the odds. No matter how long it takes, the war had begun. The galaxy would never be the same. Thrax Prime was a world of giant hive cities. Billions of Thrax lived there, building ships and weapons for the Council. It was one of the most protected planets in the galaxy. Around it, 2,000 Council warships patrolled in perfect formations. They had shields, heavy weapons, and confidence. No one had ever attacked Thrax Prime. No one was stupid enough to try. Until now, Fleet Commander Hyun-suk sat in the command chair of her flagship, the Indomitable. Around her, officers worked at their stations. Everyone was quiet. Everyone was focused. They all knew what they were about to do. They were about to attack a world defended by 4 times their number of ships. Status report, Hyun-suk said calmly. Her tactical officer, Lieutenant Yoonji, looked up from her screen. We are in position. Captain Boram's stealth ships have finished mining all jump points. Enemy fleet is where we expected. They have not detected us. Hyun-suk nodded. The plan was simple but dangerous. Boram's stealth ships had spent 3 days secretly placing nuclear mines at every jump point around Thrax Prime. When the enemy fleet jumped to chase Hyun-suk's ships, they would jump right into the mines. Then, while they were confused and damaged, Hyun-suk would attack. It would work. Or they would all die. Sometimes war was that simple. Send the message, Hyun-suk ordered. Her communication officer pressed a button. A signal went out to the Thrax defense fleet. It was a human message broadcast on all frequencies. This is Fleet Commander Hyun-suk of the United Earth Forces. You murdered our ambassador. Now you will pay. This is for Hyunwoo. On the Thrax command ship, Admiral Zek heard the message. He laughed. Humans had come to attack Thrax Prime. With how many ships? He checked his sensors. 500 human vessels against his 2,000. The humans were even more stupid than he thought. All ships pursue and destroy, Zek ordered. Leave none alive. The Thrax fleet moved. 2,000 ships charged toward the human fleet. Hyun-suk watched them come. She waited. Timing was everything. Wait too long and her ships would be destroyed. Jump too early and the enemy would not follow through the jump point. They are within range, Yoonji reported. Enemy weapons are charging. They will fire in 30 seconds. Hyun-suk counted down in her head. 20 seconds, 15, 10. All ships jump now. The human fleet disappeared. They jumped through space to a position behind Thrax Prime. The Thrax fleet, already moving at full speed, had no time to stop. They jumped after the humans and jumped right into Captain Boram's nuclear mines. The explosions lit up space like a new sun. 800 Thrax ships vanished in the first second. The nuclear blast tore through shields and armor. Ships broke apart. Crews died instantly. The perfect Thrax formation became chaos and fire. Admiral Zek stared at his screens in horror. Half his fleet was gone. Just gone in 1 second. What kind of weapons were these? How did the humans know where they would jump? Nothing made sense. Regroup, he shouted. Reform the fleet. Find those human ships. But it was too late. The human fleet appeared behind them. And now Hyun-suk attacked. Human ships were different from council ships. They were smaller and faster. They did not fight in neat formations. They spread out, attacked from all angles and moved constantly. Human weapons fired faster but were less powerful. So humans did not try to break through shields with single shots. They fired hundreds of times, overwhelming the shields through volume. The Thrax fleet tried to fight back. But they were trained for traditional battles. Line up, fire big weapons, destroy the enemy slowly. The humans did not fight that way. They darted in, fired rapidly, and moved before the Thrax could target them properly. Captain Yoon-ji commanded a destroyer called the Defiant. She led her squadron against a group of Thrax heavy cruisers. The Thrax ships were bigger and stronger, but Yoon-ji was smarter. She split her squadron in two. One group attacked from the front, drawing fire. The other circled around and hit the engines. The Thrax cruisers, unable to move, became easy targets. Lieutenant Dae-jung flew a fighter. He was young, only 25 years old, but he was a natural pilot. His fighter squadron dove into the middle of the Thrax fleet. The big Thrax ships could not shoot at the small human fighters without hitting their own vessels. Dae-jung and his pilots destroyed ship after ship, attacking weak points and vulnerable systems. Admiral Zek realized he was losing. His fleet was being cut apart. The humans were everywhere, moving too fast, attacking too cleverly. He had to retreat. He had to save what remained of his fleet. All ships fall back to Thrax Prime. Use the planetary defenses. The surviving Thrax ships turned and ran. They headed back to their homeworld, where huge weapons platforms waited. Surely the humans would not follow them there. Surely even humans were not that crazy. Hyun-suk watched them run. She smiled. Follow them. Launch missiles at the weapons platforms. But do not get close. We do not need to invade the planet. We just need to make a point. The human fleet chased the Thrax ships. As the weapons platforms around Thrax Prime powered up, human ships launched hundreds of missiles. Not at ships. At the platforms themselves. The missiles struck, damaging or destroying the fixed defenses. Without those platforms, Thrax Prime was vulnerable. Hyun-suk opened a communication channel. She broadcast to the entire planet. This is Fleet Commander Hyun-suk. Your fleet is destroyed. Your defenses are damaged. We could destroy your cities right now, but we will not. We are not like you. We do not kill innocents. We came here to show you that actions have consequences. You killed our ambassador, so we killed your fleet. Remember this. Remember that humans do not forget and we do not forgive. Tell the council. Tell everyone. This is just the beginning. The human fleet jumped away, vanishing as quickly as they had appeared. Behind them, Thrax Prime burned. Not the cities, but the military bases and shipyards. The Thrax would recover eventually, but they would never forget this day. The day humans came to their homeworld and won. Across the galaxy, the news spread. Humanity had attacked Thrax Prime. Humanity had destroyed the defense fleet. Humanity had done the impossible. Species that had supported the council began to worry. Species that had been neutral began to reconsider, and species that had been oppressed began to hope. On Vortan Prime, High Arbiter Krell called an emergency meeting. He was angry. How had this happened? How had primitive humans defeated a council fleet? He needed answers. He needed a plan. He needed to crush humanity before other species got ideas. We will assemble the Grand Armada, he announced. 10,000 ships from 50 species. We will find Earth and we will destroy it. We will end this human rebellion once and for all. The council voted. The Grand Armada would be assembled. Grand Admiral Vexthor, the greatest Vreth commander, would lead it. Vexthor was a legend. He had fought in 200 wars. He had never lost a battle. He would destroy the humans and restore council authority. But Vexthor was worried. He had watched the battle recordings from Thrax Prime. The humans fought differently. They did not respect the rules of war. They used tricks and traps. They attacked from unexpected directions. They were unpredictable, and unpredictable enemies were the most dangerous kind. On Earth, Admiral Tae Yang received Hyun-suk's report. The attack had succeeded. Only 23 human ships were lost. Over 500 council ships were destroyed. It was a great victory, but Tae-yang did not celebrate. He knew the real war was just beginning. The council would respond with overwhelming force. They would send their best commanders and their largest fleets. Earth could not win through direct battle. They had to be smart. They had to strike where the enemy was weak. They had to make the council afraid. He looked at the star map. 20 council worlds were marked in red. Military targets, supply depots, shipyards. If the council wanted to gather a grand armada, they would need supplies and ships. Tae-yang would make sure they could not get them. He sent new orders. 20 human fleets, small and fast, would attack 20 different targets simultaneously. The council would have to divide their forces to defend everything. And a divided enemy was a weak enemy. The war was spreading. Soon it would engulf the entire galaxy, and humanity, outnumbered and outgunned, was just getting started. 3 months had passed since the war began. Humanity had attacked 200 council worlds. Shipyards burned. Supply depots exploded. Military bases were destroyed. Everywhere, human ships appeared, struck, and vanished like ghosts. The council could not catch them. They could not stop them, but the cost was terrible. Earth had lost 40% of its fleet. Colonies were being bombarded by council forces. Millions of humans had died. The war was draining Earth's resources. Food was rationed. Every factory made weapons. Every person worked for the war effort. On Earth, President Jae-hee faced growing pressure. Politicians demanded she negotiate. Citizens were tired of death and sacrifice. Some colonies wanted to surrender. The council had sent messages offering peace if humanity would submit to their authority again. Jae-hee sat in her office late at night. Admiral Tae-yang and General Min-ho were with her. They looked at casualty reports and resource projections. The numbers were bad. Earth could fight for maybe 6 more months. After that, they would run out of ships, weapons, and supplies. "We cannot keep fighting this way," Min-ho said quietly. "We are winning battles but losing the war. The council has endless resources." "We do not," Tae-yang nodded. "He is right. We need to change our strategy. We need something big, something that will break the council's will to fight." Jae-hee looked at them both. "What do you suggest?" Tae-yang pulled up a star map. A red dot marked Vortan Prime, the council's capital world. "We attack here. We take their capital. We capture their leadership. If we control Vortan Prime, we control the council." Min-ho stared at him. "That is suicide. Vortan Prime has 5,000 defense ships. We have maybe 800 left. We would be destroyed." "Not if we use the quantum disruptor," Tae-yang said. Everyone was silent. The quantum disruptor was Engineer Ji-woo's secret project, a weapon that could tear open space itself. It was dangerous and experimental. It might not even work, but if it did, it could destroy thousands of ships in an instant. Jae-hee thought for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Contact Ji-woo. Tell her to prepare the weapon. We attack Vortan Prime in 1 week. Tell Fleet Commander Hyun-suk to gather every available ship. This is our last chance. We win there, or we lose everything." The plan was named Operation Guillotine. It would either cut the head off the council or destroy humanity's last hope. There was no middle ground. Engineer Ji-woo worked day and night preparing the quantum disruptor. It was huge, the size of a small moon. It had been built in secret in an asteroid field and slowly moved into position near Vortan Prime over the past 2 months. Council sensors had not detected it. They thought it was just another asteroid. Ji-woo was nervous. The weapon had never been tested at full power. The math said it would work, but math was not always right in the real world. If it failed, the entire human fleet would die. If it succeeded, thousands of council ships would be destroyed. Everything depended on her calculations. Fleet Commander Hyun-suk gathered the fleet. 800 ships, veterans who had survived 3 months of constant combat. Ships that were damaged and patched together. Crews that were exhausted but determined. Everyone knew this was the final battle. Win or die, there would be no retreat. Admiral Tae-yang addressed the fleet before the attack. His message was broadcast to every ship. "We are about to do something impossible. We are going to attack the most defended world in the galaxy. Many of us will die, maybe all of us. But we do this for Hyunwoo, for every human who has died in this war, for every human who will be born in the future. We fight so they can be free, so they will never have to bow to tyrants. Whatever happens, remember that you are human, and humans never surrender." The fleet jumped to Vortan Prime. They appeared at the edge of the system. Immediately, alarms sounded on every council ship. The humans had come. The humans were attacking the capital. High Arbiter Krell watched from his office. He could not believe what he was seeing. 800 human ships against 5,000 council defenders. The humans had lost their minds. This was not a battle. This was suicide. He ordered all ships to engage. The entire defense fleet moved forward. They would crush the humans. They would end this war today. The council would win. The two fleets raced toward each other. Weapons charged, shields powered up, every ship prepared for battle. The council fleet was confident. They had the numbers. They had the firepower. Victory was certain. Hyun-suk watched the enemy fleet approach. She waited. She needed them to get closer, closer, just a little closer. She counted down in her head. When the council fleet reached the exact position she needed, she gave the order. Jiwoo, activate the disruptor. Now. In the asteroid field, the quantum disruptor powered up. Jiwoo had placed it perfectly. The council fleet was directly in front of it. She pressed the activation button and held her breath. Space itself screamed. Reality tore open. A massive rift appeared in front of the council fleet. It was like a black hole, but worse. It did not pull things in slowly. It grabbed them instantly. Ships vanished. Not destroyed. Not broken apart. Simply gone. Erased from existence. 2,000 council ships disappeared in 5 seconds. The rift lasted for 10 seconds total before collapsing. When it closed, half the council defense fleet was gone. Just gone, no debris. No survivors, nothing. The remaining council ships panicked. What was that weapon? How did the humans create such a thing? The council had banned such weapons for good reason. They were too dangerous, too terrible. And now the humans had one. The council fleet broke formation. Ships tried to retreat, but the human fleet was already among them. Hyun-suk had ordered her ships to attack while the enemy was confused and scared. Human ships fired at close range. Council ships, still in shock from the disruptor, could barely respond. Captain Yoonji led her squadron straight at a council command ship. The enemy vessel tried to turn away but was too slow. Yoonji's weapons struck its bridge. The command ship went dark, its crew dead or wounded. Lieutenant Dae-jung and his fighters attacked the weapons platforms around Vortan Prime. One by one, they destroyed the fixed defenses. Soon, the planet itself was vulnerable. After 6 hours of fighting, the council fleet surrendered. The survivors were outnumbered and outfought. They had seen their fleet cut in half by an impossible weapon. They had seen human ships fight with skill and courage. They were defeated. Hyun-suk broadcast a message to Vortan Prime. This is Fleet Commander Hyun-suk. Your defense fleet has surrendered. Your weapons platforms are destroyed. Surrender the planet or we will destroy your cities. You have 1 hour to decide. On the planet, High Arbiter Krell sat in his office. His hands were shaking. How had this happened? How had the humans won? It was impossible. But it had happened. The capital was captured. The council was defeated. He sent the surrender signal. Vortan Prime would not resist. He would accept whatever terms the humans demanded. Human Marines landed on the planet. General Minho led them personally. They captured the council building. They arrested Krell and 500 other council representatives. Not a single shot was fired. The council leaders came quietly, knowing they were beaten. President Jae-hee arrived 2 days later. She stood in the same chamber where Hyun-woo had been sentenced. Now the council leaders stood where he had stood. They waited to hear their fate. Jae-hee looked at them. She thought about executing them. It would be justice. They had killed Hyun-woo. They deserved to die. But she remembered what Hyun-woo had said. He had defended freedom. He had believed in justice, not revenge. You killed our ambassador, she said. You thought you could control us through fear. You were wrong. We do not respond to fear with obedience. We respond with resistance. Now you are defeated. Your fleet is destroyed. Your capital is captured. You are prisoners, she paused. But we are not like you. We will not execute you. We will not murder you in public. We will release you. Go back to your worlds. Tell them that humanity does not seek revenge. We seek justice. Tell them the council is finished. Tell them a new government will be created. One where all species are equal. One where everyone has a voice. One where tyrants cannot rule. Krell could not believe what he was hearing. You are letting us go? Yes, Jae-hee said. Because killing you would make us like you. And we are better than that. Now go, spread the word. The age of the Council is over. The age of freedom has begun. The news spread across the galaxy faster than light. The Council capital was captured. The human fleet had won. The impossible had happened. And suddenly oppressed species everywhere saw hope. If humans could defeat the Council, maybe they could too. Rebellions broke out on 200 worlds. Species that had been enslaved rose up against their masters. Species that had been forced to join the Council declared independence. The galaxy was changing, and it was all because humans refused to bow. But the war was not over. Many Council species still refused to surrender. Grand Admiral Vexthor gathered the remaining loyal fleets, 3,000 ships. He would retake Vortan Prime or die trying. The final battle was coming, and it would decide the future of the galaxy. Grand Admiral Vexthor was a legend among the Vreth. He had lived for 500 years. He had commanded fleets in 200 wars. He had conquered 1,000 worlds. He had never lost a battle. Never. Not once in 5 centuries. But he had never fought humans before. His fleet of 3,000 ships approached Vortan Prime. These were the last loyal Council forces. Ships from species that refused to accept defeat. Ships commanded by officers who believed the Council was right and humans were wrong. They came to retake the capital. They came to crush the rebellion. They came to restore order. Vexthor stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Pride of Vreth. It was the largest ship in the fleet, covered in weapons and armor. Around him, officers worked at their stations. Everyone was confident. Yes, the humans had won some battles, but this was different. This was the final battle. This was where superior numbers and experience would win. What are the human forces? Vexthor asked his censor officer. 200 human ships, Admiral, plus another 800 ships from rebel species. Total of 2,000 vessels. Vexthor nodded. His 3,000 ships against their 2,000, good odds. And his ships were larger, better armed. The rebel ships were weak and poorly trained. This would be a short battle. What Vexthor did not know was that Fleet Commander Hyunsuk had been preparing for this battle for weeks. She knew the Loyalist forces would come. She knew they would try to retake Vortan Prime, so she had prepared surprises. Many surprises. Hyunsuk commanded the defense from her flagship, the Indomitable. Next to her, Admiral Yoonji now commanded the alien rebel fleet. Yoonji had been promoted after her excellent performance in previous battles. She was young but skilled, and she understood how to coordinate human and alien ships together. Captain Boram and his stealth ships were hidden throughout the system. Vexthor could not see them. His sensors showed only the main fleet near Vortan Prime. He thought that was all the humans had. He was wrong. All ships attack formation, Vexthor ordered. We will advance in 3 waves. First wave will break their defenses. Second wave will engage their fleet. Third wave will capture the planet. This ends today. The Loyalist fleet moved forward in perfect formation. This was how the Council had always fought. Organized, disciplined, overwhelming. It had worked for 50,000 years. It would work now. Hyunsuk watched them come. She smiled. They fight the old way. The predictable way. Captain Boram, begin your attack. Boram's stealth ship suddenly appeared behind Vexthor's fleet, 200 ships attacking from the rear. They targeted engines and weapon systems. Ships that were damaged could not fight properly. Ships that could not move became targets. Vexthor's perfect formation broke apart. He had to turn ships around to face the new threat, but that meant his front ships were now vulnerable. And that was when Hyunsuk attacked. The human fleet did not advance in neat lines. They spread out in all directions. Some went high. Some went low. Some circled to the sides. They attacked from every angle at once. The Loyalist fleet, trained to fight traditional battles, could not respond to attacks from all directions simultaneously. Admiral Yoonji led the rebel fleet in a coordinated strike. The aliens followed human tactics now. Fast ships darted in and out. Slow ships provided covering fire. Heavy ships attacked damaged enemies. Everyone worked together. The rebels fought with hope and determination. They were fighting for their freedom. Lieutenant Daijung commanded a fighter wing. He had survived every battle of the war. His pilots trusted him completely. They dove into the enemy formation, targeting command ships. Kill the commanders and the fleet becomes confused. Confused enemies make mistakes. Vexthor watched his fleet struggle. The humans were everywhere. They moved too fast. They attacked from unexpected positions. His ships could not maintain formation. His commanders were reporting damage and casualties. This was not going according to plan. "Reform the fleet," he ordered. "All ships pull back and regroup." But it was too late. The battle had become chaos. Ships trying to retreat ran into ships trying to attack. Communications were jammed. Sensors were confused by all the movement. The perfect council military machine was breaking down. Hyun-suk saw her chance. "All ships focus on the Pride of Vreth. We take down their flagship." 50 human ships turned toward Vexthor's massive dreadnought. The Pride of Vreth was huge and powerful, but it was also slow, and right now it was separated from the rest of the fleet. Vexthor realized the danger. "All ships protect the flagship." Close formation around the Pride. Some ships tried to respond, but they were too far away or too engaged with other enemies. The human ships reached the Pride first. Hyun-suk moved the Indomitable to face the Pride directly. The two flagships circled each other. The Pride was 3 times larger. Its weapons were more powerful. Its armor was thicker. In a straight fight, the Pride would win, so Hyun-suk did not fight straight. She led the Pride into a debris field. Wrecked ships and broken metal floated everywhere. The Pride, being so large, had to move slowly and carefully. The Indomitable, being smaller, could dart between the debris easily. For 2 hours, the commanders fought. Vexthor tried to get a clear shot. Hyun-suk stayed in the debris where the Pride's big weapons could not track her properly. She fired at the same spot on the Pride's hull over and over, small weapons, hitting the same place hundreds of times. Eventually, even thick armor breaks. "Engine section is damaged, Admiral," Vexthor's officer reported. "We are losing power. We cannot maneuver properly." Vexthor understood. Without engines, the Pride was just a target, a huge, expensive target. He could surrender. He could save his crew, but he was Vreth. Vreth did not surrender. They died with honor. Hyun-suk opened a communication channel. "Grand Admiral Vexthor, your ship is crippled. Your fleet is defeated. Surrender and your crew lives. Continue fighting and everyone dies. You have 60 seconds to decide." Vexthor looked around his bridge. Young officers. Good people. They had followed him faithfully. They trusted him to make the right decision. He could order them to fight to the death. They would obey. But was that the right choice? He thought about his 500 years of war, all the battles he had won, all the enemies he had defeated. He had fought for the council because he believed in order, in discipline, in hierarchy. But watching the humans fight, he saw something different. He saw individuals working together by choice, not by command. He saw people fighting for ideas, not for orders. Maybe that was stronger than anything the council had, but his pride would not let him surrender. He had never lost. He would not start now. Even if it was foolish, even if it was wrong, honor mattered more than sense. "We are Vreth," he said to his crew. "We do not surrender. All remaining power to weapons. Fire everything." The Pride's weapons fired one last time, but the ship was crippled and could not aim properly. The shots missed. And then Hyun-suk fired back. Her weapon struck the Pride's power core. The massive ship exploded in a ball of fire. Vexthor died with his ship. 500 years of experience. 200 victories, all ending in one moment of stubborn pride. With their commander dead and their flagship destroyed, the remaining loyalist ships surrendered. The battle was over. The war was over. Humanity and its allies had won. On Vortan Prime, President Jae-hee stood on a balcony overlooking the city. Below, humans and aliens celebrated together. Species that had been enemies were now friends. Species that had been enslaved were now free. Admiral Tae-yang joined her. "The council has formally surrendered. All remaining loyal forces have laid down their weapons. It is over." Jae-hee nodded but did not smile. Too many had died. Too much had been destroyed. Yes, they had won. But the cost was terrible. What happens now? Tae-yang asked. "Now we build something better," Jae-hee said. "The council is finished. We will create a new government. One where every species has a voice. One where tyrants cannot rule. One where what happened to Hyunwoo can never happen again." She looked up at the stars. "We fought this war for him, for all the humans who died, for all the aliens who were oppressed. Now we honor them by building a galaxy worth living in. A galaxy where freedom matters more than power, where justice matters more than control, where every life has value." Tae-yang smiled. "Hyunwoo would be proud." Yes, Jae-hee agreed. He would. Across the galaxy, the news spread. The war was over. The Council was defeated. Humanity and its allies had won. And everywhere, beings who had been oppressed celebrated. They danced in the streets. They tore down statues of Council leaders. They declared independence and freedom. The galaxy was changing. And humans, those supposedly primitive creatures from a backwater planet, had made it happen. They had shown everyone that freedom was worth fighting for. That one life could matter enough to start a revolution. That determination and courage could defeat any enemy, no matter how powerful. The war was over. But the work of building a better galaxy was just beginning, and humanity would be there, helping to create a future where all beings could live free, where all voices could be heard, where all lives mattered because that was what humans did. They fought for what was right. They never gave up. They stood up to bullies and tyrants, and they never ever forgot those who sacrificed for freedom. Ambassador Hyunwoo had died so others could be free. His sacrifice started a war, but more importantly, it started a change.